Welcome to the Dream Journal. From the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, the Dream Journal is a weekly show where we explore the power of nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with you.
So there's no those vital minutes, time is keenly found. We are not alone, water over stone, even if you're
In the words of Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. The name of today's music is The Crane and the Lake. Trouble sleeping through the night? Maybe you are on your way to a superior sleep schedule which could enhance your creativity, flexibility, and dream recall. We'll be talking with Dave Cielak about what Seth has to say about sleep and lucid dreaming. I am your host, Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. The Dream Journal is also a weekly podcast, and if you are listening as a podcast, please hang in there. Check our most recent shows should be live. Older archive shows, unfortunately, are not available at the moment. We hope to get those archives back online soon, so you should be able to hear the last 3 or 4 shows. Hang in there. We'll get back up. So we are also on PRX, so you can get back 6 or 7 shows on PRX. So you can look up the Public Radio Exchange and subscribe for free. Go ahead and look up the Dream Journal. Your listens will help us get our show out there. We actually had a show purchased by purchased for free. This is good. We want to get it out there. Purchased by a station in West Virginia. So welcome WYAP. Hopefully they'll be interested to buy some more shows. Let's turn to the phones, and I want to say hello to Dave Cielak. Hello, David.
Hey, Catherine. How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous. Welcome all the way from Australia, our first ever guest from Australia. So thank you. Yes, today you are breaking the mold.
No, good day.
Oh, good day.
Good day.
I
good
see.
Day means hello.
Good day, mate. It's
Anya.
a Crocodile Dundee. That's all I know about Australia, really. So David Cielak has been playing with dreams since childhood, over 55 years. David migrated to Australia in 1990, should I say Australia, and used dreams to help that decision. And he also helped that process along. A long-term student of the Seth material since his early 20s. We can create reality from the inside out using the dream state. David has been practicing the superior alternative sleep schedule for the past few years. So David's been a long time attendee at the ISD conferences, and I went to one of his Seth workshops. I think it was the Tucson one. And this year he did a workshop about this superior alternative sleep schedule, and I was like, what is this? What is this?
Do you want to know why it was called that?
Yeah, I do.
Because the alternative sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Is ass. And I thought, I don't think so. I think sass sounds a hell of a lot better.
Oh, good to know. Okay, so it's a little sassy. Is that it? So that's something that we're going to dive right into. That in fact, let's just go right into what the superior alternative sleep schedule is, and then we'll talk a little bit about its origins in a few minutes. But
yeah. Sure.
This is something that, because it's 1 a.m. down under from where you are right now, and yet here you are on the phone with us, sounding pretty chipper.
Yeah. It's not that remarkable, really. It's
okay.
But look, little naps here and there can be really helpful, and you actually sometimes don't even need a nap to be refreshed. And using the power of suggestion is really helpful. So the question is, what is the alternative sleep schedule? So briefly and basically, it's instead of sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night or 8 hours a night, whatever, you split that up a little bit and maybe sleep, say, 5 hours and a nap if you need a little bit later in the day when you feel a little bit furry around the edges. But you might not. And what I've discovered is I've been keeping records over the last couple of years, and without suggestion, and we'll talk about that in a sec, what do I mean by suggestion?
Yeah.
But without suggestion, I would wake up like after 5 hours, I would wake up tired.
Yeah.
And what I wasn't doing was including the suggestion before I went to sleep that upon awakening, I'll feel refreshed, invigorated, and my body has recovered, and I'm ready to go.
You know, I wonder if part of that is just to fight against the doctrine we've received since infants that we must have 8 hours of sleep a night. And so
that's exactly right.
So it's kind of a message to our own brain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've been sending that that message to ourselves for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
With no malintent at all, but it's not what I have found for myself, at least, and I think everyone has to prove it to themselves, is you can actually sleep less, but spread it out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a funny thing because it goes exactly to the opposite of what you would think. Many people think, oh, I don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got to sleep more. And that's not necessarily true. So it's a little bit counterintuitive.
Well, yeah, because I can see that this could just result in a whole bunch of sleep-deprived people, and there's tons of studies about tell you why sleep is important and what the consequences of sleep deprivation are, all the way from diabetes to crashing your car into a tree.
Yeah.
And so I guess you're saying that the power of suggestion, and also the embracing of a nap, I think maybe part of what separates this from just plain sleep deprivation.
So I'm really great at making mistakes and stuffing things up first, and then I learn from them. Mm-hmm. And usually it's a powerful lesson. And what I learned, I'll just tell you where some of the source material for this for listeners comes from two books in the Seth materials, one called Seth Speaks and one Nature of Personal Reality. And it's chapter 8 and chapter 13. So if you're at all interested in this topic, I suggest have a read of that. Mm-hmm. But to start it out, what I did was I said, oh, I'll just wake up after 4 hours. So I would set my alarm, or 5 hours, whatever it was. And I was like, I woke up, I was exhausted.
Yeah, I bet.
I was not done. But what I had neglected, Catherine and listeners, was I forgot to use the suggestion before I went to sleep that upon awakening, I'll be, refreshed, reinvigorated, and ready to go. Mm-hmm. And then what I did was, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it's not. I then started to do that, and I noticed the change occurring, which is I actually woke up and I wasn't tired. It was like, whoa, after 4 or 5 hours, you're not tired? And it's like, it goes totally against the conditioning that we've all had.
Okay, right. So you've been doing this for a few years now, and what kind of pattern have you found? Is that the 5 hours plus a nap in the afternoon, if needed?
Yeah,
it works for you.
Yeah, for me, there was what it's turned into is probably 4 hours and 45 minutes to 5 hours and 15 minutes. I just write down when I go to sleep. And I have a dream recorder on next to me, a voice recorder, so it captures all my snoring and the passing trains and dogs barking and all that.
Yep.
At any rate, but it can also capture dreams if I wake up in the middle and just speak them out. But at any rate, so I've been noting that over time, and so it's for me, it's gone to about 5 hours, which is far different than the 8.
Yeah.
And then what I do is when I feel that kind of furry, little bit tired, lethargic feeling, and for me, it's usually in the afternoon sometimes, and it really varies. Mm-hmm. Then what I'll do is I will just, if I'm near a couch or even if it's in my car, it doesn't really matter where you are so much. and I'll take a 15 minute, half an hour, as much as an hour. Sometimes if I'm really tired from doing various things, it might be 2 hours, but that's rare, only when I'm super tired. So what I've noticed is before, when didn't use the sleep schedule at all, I would be exhausted by 10 o'clock at night. I was whacked. I was so tired.
Right.
Because I like to exercise and do different things. And at any rate, I was exhausted by 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I would just fall into the deepest sleep. Which that's fine in one way, but if you're a dreamer and you're wanting to remember your dreams, it's actually helpful, I've found, to not be so tired. Like, it's actually better to be tired but not exhausted, if you know what I mean. So there's levels to that.
Yeah. Yeah, so tell me about this about dream recall. So,
Okay.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about how that relates to the superior alternative.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, two things I'll mention. Usually what I do is I will have a suggestion or what some people would call an incubation before sleep. So if there's a problem I'm wanting to solve, or if I'm trying to help someone in the dream state, or if I am wanting to get an idea for a painting or a creative project, I'll think about that just a little bit or make 2 or 3 suggestions. And then what I'll do is I'll actually drink a little bit of water, or even maybe a minute amount of coffee, or even a minute amount of alcohol, just a tiny bit, not a lot. It's not, you don't drink 3 beers or have 2 cups of coffee. It's a lot less than that.
Like a tablespoon or
So
something?
because all those are actually stimulants,
Yeah.
alcohol is actually a stimulant in the first instance at the beginning. Later it turns into not a stimulant if you drink too much. Anyway, so I do that, do my incubation, have a glass of water, because what I want to do is I actually want to wake up and have to go to the toilet or the bathroom. Because if I wake up, more than likely I'll remember a dream. So I don't mind waking up. And for me, I do an incubation, and I'll repeat it. So if our listeners want to write it down, that's fine. There's 2 incubations. As I sleep, I will attract the very best possible events from inner reality into my life. So I'll repeat that just because it's it sounds weird, I know. As I sleep, I will attract from inner reality the very best possible events in all areas of my life. Sounds weird, doesn't it? And the idea is that in the Seth materials, dreams are a lot more than these movies that we either participate in or watch or whatever. It's that we're actually creating the events of our life within the dream state, whether we realize it or not. So why not incubate that and work to attract the best ones is the idea.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Seth materials now. We're kind of getting into the source of this, and so you're saying the idea here, one of the Seth ideas, is that in dreams we are actually creating our reality, our waking reality. Is that what I heard?
That is exact. That's very very good paraphrase. Yeah, absolutely. So we create our own realities. And we use the dream state to help us do that. We actually explore various probable events. A lot of people now are aware of quantum physics, the idea of parallel universes, simultaneous time, that people understand that they can walk out a door and choose to go left or right. To do one thing or to do another. And in the dream state, we actually choose to do one of those, turn left or turn right, or whatever it might be. And in that dream state, we decide which one we then want to experience in waking reality. And then we go about creating that in waking reality. So It's a little deeper than I really wanted to get, but that's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, no,
So
that's good. So,
part
yeah,
of
go ahead.
let me just finish
Sure.
this thought before I lose it. I
Yep.
don't mean lose. So many people, many listeners have had lucid dreams where it's like they're really aware that they're dreaming, right?
Right.
And they're also aware that if they think something or desire to do something, it instantaneously happens. And if that's the case in that dream, that you are creating through your beliefs, thoughts, and emotions your reality in the dream state, Seth would say, and I would join with him and say, yeah, well, we create our reality every step of the way. And if you're doing that in dream reality, maybe we're doing that in waking reality as well.
Well, I tell you, I don't always make the best choices in my dreams, so that's a little.
Me either, but they are rich choices,
Sure.
and we learn a lot from them, don't we?
Okay. So maybe even making the
So,
wrong choice could
and maybe,
yeah.
maybe what we consider like, the choice that you make is like, oh man, why did I do that? But we all learn a lot from those choices.
True. Okay, so the what you're dreaming is extremely important to your waking life in this Seth formalism. Sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to paraphrase it, is in our nightly dream experiences and adventures, we have a multitude of dreams, and usually they put before us not only the problems but also the solutions. So it's a little bit like cognitive-based therapy in a way, although not all dreams are this, but they do set forward, and dreams can be like high play, right? Like it's just, you do all kinds of great stuff. But many of the dreams that people remember, which are like three-part plays, they set forward the problem, the protagonist shows up, and then the middle part of the play, and then the solution shows up, the finale. And when dreams are looked at in that way, we can see not only the beliefs and ideas that maybe created the problem, but we are also shown in our dreams by our inner selves the solutions or approaches to take towards those dilemmas or problematic beliefs that we have.
This is very interesting, Dave. So there's something coming up for me here about kind of cause and effect. Like often when something
Okay.
happens in a dream and there's a solution is found, I'll hear dreamers say, "Oh, that means I should go do that in waking life." But I've often taken the understanding that the dream is showing what we're already understanding, and maybe there's a simultaneous, maybe it's the same, but there's something like something scolding if it says that this is what I should do. Whereas I'm thinking that if a dream is something that's showing me what I'm already discovering, then maybe it's like reinforcing. Or I wonder if you have any thoughts about that. If I explain myself well enough.
Yeah, let's yeah, I had a little trouble following you, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let me that's okay. Um, so often, my dream buddies, my people I talk with about my dreams, and they go, what seems obvious in the dream that the dream seems to be saying, that may not be it. It's kind of like, why would a dream tell you what you already know?
Yeah, yep.
Is that a little bit like what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it is, but even more like to the degree of a solution. Like problem shows up in a dream,
Yeah.
and then I have a solution to it. It's something gets figured out in the dream, and then but it's usually something that the dreamer is not aware of having a solution to this in waking life, and yet I urge people to look, and maybe they really do have the solution. Maybe they've gotten in the habit of thinking this is an unsolved problem, but the dream, but the dream is kind of
Absolutely.
yeah.
I get it now.
Okay.
Yeah, the solutions, in my experience, just because I can't see the solution in the dream that I have, doesn't mean that it's not there. It actually is there. It's more that I don't get it. It's
Yeah.
it's a little bit. So I did some dream work today, and as we were doing that, let's see. Let me back up only 2 steps.
Oh, go ahead,
So
please.
I'll back up 2 steps, and that is, we go from beliefs to feelings. So, for example, let's see. What's a good belief? Let's see. Oh, okay. It's dangerous to go out at night. I have a belief. It's dangerous to go out at night. And
Right.
a lot of people have that. Like, they don't go out, so.
Right.
There could be bad guys out there, bad women, more likely. Like, sorry, I just can't help myself. At any rate, so you have that belief, right? And then you go outside. Let's just say you go outside, and you have a feeling, right? And the feeling is fear, because you have this belief. So the feeling didn't come first. It's the belief, right?
Right.
So
right.
you follow me?
Yes.
So, and anyway, so coming back to dreams, how do you do that with dreams? So oftentimes people have, very strong feelings in dreams. We're a lot less repressed in our dreams. And so you have these strong feelings. So you can work backwards from the feelings to the beliefs. So it's like, we'll use that same example. So you're in a dream, it's dark night, and you're terrified. You're absolutely terrified. In fact, you can't move. You're so terrified.
Right. Okay.
And then, so the next question is, what's the belief behind me being terrified? It's dark out. Why am I afraid? What is the belief? Well, the belief is I'll just make it up, but it's probably not too far off. Well, I'm afraid of darkness. I'm afraid of lack of light. I'm afraid of being hurt. I'm afraid of being attacked. There might be bad, You can come up with lots of beliefs. It doesn't mean you should go out at night and not, have your eyes open. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But it allows us then to examine beliefs that we hold.
Right. And so
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I see where you're going to, and then the dreams help us sort it out. So basically the belief
Yes.
then affects our behavior. So we have beliefs and feelings, and then that affects our behavior. And so
you can then change your belief, right? So if
there we
your
go.
dream points out to you that you have an overabundance of fear of going out at night, well, you can change that belief, right?
Right. Okay.
Or you can change your behavior. I can go out if I carry a flashlight, or if I guess as you Americans, you can always carry guns, right? Like,
Oh, good Lord.
yeah, no, I'm just
Okay, we
kidding.
won't go there.
This is a joke, okay? Like,
Okay.
I'm trying to be humorous, probably isn't. But so that's the idea, is our dreams help us examine our beliefs, because if we can change our beliefs, we can then change our realities, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is helpful. So then we're getting to the point of where you can then create your reality by changing your beliefs. Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And so our dreams, many times, and even if you don't remember your dreams are helping you anyway.
Yes,
So-
that's something I believe.
So
Yes.
one thing you can do, and this is for listeners and anyone else, myself included, is you wake up in the morning and let's say you're shut out, like no dreams. Oh, rats, I hate that.
Yep. Me too.
So what I do is I write down my feelings, and it's so funny because oftentimes I'll actually find that I start remembering my dreams just by writing down my feelings of when I wake up. It's so bizarre. I can't tell you how many times. And
That's good advice.
so it's interesting.
Yeah.
So just if you find yourself shut out, let's see, how do I say this? Don't not write. Write anyway. Like, just write your feelings down, or your intuitions, or your, make predictions, for example. Try to engage your intuition.
Okay.
So, Hey, I've got to tell you a story before I
Sure.
forget to do this,
Yeah.
and I'd be remiss if I didn't. So when I started really emphasizing this alternative sleep schedule, I woke up with an amazing dream with indigenous people in it. So indigenous people are also called Aboriginal people here in Australia. And, racism exists here as well as in other parts of the world. And, it's an issue. It's an issue for this country. At any rate, I woke up with this, to me, an amazing idea. And it was to create a festival of dreams, which I know which I came across your stuff, a
Yes.
month or two ago.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I saw your stuff and I thought, my God, this woman is on it. Anyway, so I shared my idea before I came across yours. So the idea was creating a huge art prize, like a $50,000 prize, getting indigenous participation, because in Australia, the dream time and the song lines are, hugely important. In fact, they believe that creation was from the dream time,
Right.
and I believe that actually. Like it's actually more real to me than some of the creation stories that there was a big explosion or there was this giant evolution, or I don't buy any of that at this point in my life, but that's okay.
Okay.
There's room for all that creative stuff.
Yep.
So anyway, I liked your Festival of Dreams. I can't wait to talk to you about it at another point.
Yeah, well,
And,
what Dave's talking about is an event we've had now 3 times in Santa Cruz,
that's great.
Festival of Dreams, where we get together and talk about dreams and have workshops and presentations and posters and art. And we've done it 2017, 2018, 2019, and then something happened in 2020. And we'll get back to it, though. We're probably 24, maybe 25, to do just bringing people together. And the idea for me is the Festival of Dreams is that like the dreams themselves are kind of getting together. Like my dream gets to meet your dream, and then we influence each other and lift each other up. That's kind of the idea.
Oh, how cool! And I think helping encouraging young people,
Yes,
especially children and teenagers and even young adults too.
Yep.
Actually, all people. And with online technologies, we can do a lot of stuff too, and also create events. Art events, dance events, music events that are dream inspired, and really create it as a destination for people that want to travel and attend unique experiences.
Absolutely. Well, this is a Santa Cruz event that we did, but we had people from all over California, from the East
I
Coast.
bet.
We had a woman from Brazil who actually came to our event. So hopefully we'll.
How cool is that?
Sorry.
Well, hey, let's. I'd like to. I'd like to talk to you at some point.
Yeah, well, let's
offline.
talk. We'll talk more for sure. Maybe we'll even get you up here. Who knows? So I want to say we need to take a short break, and but the good news is that means we'll be opening up the phones. I want to let you know this is the Dream Journal. My guest is David Cielak, and the best webpage I have for you, Dave, is sethcenter.com. Is that what you recommend for folks?
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Okay.
some. That would be a good place to start.
Perfect. And we'll talk more about some of their upcoming offerings in a little bit. I want to let you know that we are broadcast live from the KSQD studios in Santa Cruz, co-broadcast live in San Jose by KCXU. My name is Catherine Bell. We're talking about superior alternative sleep schedule and also Seth, the whole Seth phenomenon. We'll be right back. welcome back to the Dream Journal. My name is Catherine Bell. My guest today is David Cielak. Next week, we will be speaking to Donna Glee Williams, Dream Group leader and author of several fantasy novels, which are often very dream related. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Donna Glee Williams. So, Dave, welcome back. I wanted to know, how did you get started with some of these topics? There's Seth itself, and then there's also the whole idea of the superior alternative sleep schedule.
Sure.
How did you start?
How it started for me, I was with my girlfriend. We were in a bookstore in Portland, Oregon, and this was back in the 70s somewhere. We were traveling. I was from Illinois. Anyway, this book fell off literally, it did. It fell into my lap.
Oh, wow.
And it was a book, it was, what was it? Seth Speaks, which had a picture of Jane Roberts. And this is, the Seth material is channeled material. There's 32 books. And Seth spoke through Jane Roberts for about 20 years. And at any rate, I started reading it as we did it in the day. It's like you read a few pages and it's like, I was blown away. I was like, holy crap, this is the best stuff that I had ever read. And I kept reading it, but it really bothered me that it was a channeled source.
Yeah.
Now channeled sources are a lot more common. Any rate, I was appalled because I was, at that point, a kind of a devout scientist, shall we say.
Right.
It's like, anyway, I was just appalled. But the problem for me was the material was so good that I couldn't put it down, and I really had to partition this channeled stuff off to the side. And I've come to grips with it, obviously, over time. But the stuff I'll mention, if you're really interested in dreams, in the materials there's like over 4 million words that Seth spoke, and there's over 4,000 references to dreams. And in my opinion, it's the best dream material and the most evocative that's ever been written. And it goes way past Carl Jung and anyone else that I've ever come across. So it pushed me a lot, and to kind of stay in the game of dreaming and recording my dreams, and trying to figure out what the hell is this? What are these dreams about? They're so bizarre. They're so crazy. And I'm really happy that I stuck with it. It's been super beneficial in many ways for me. It's like everything from when I decided to migrate to Australia, no small move.
Yeah.
From Illinois. It's just like, you got to be kidding, moving to another country, like half a world away.
Yeah.
And so I used my dreams to inform me what it would be like. Is this a good idea or not? And it really helped me in a lot of ways. And as Seth says, listening to your dreams and learning how to understand them and work with them, it makes your life easier. And I've got no doubt about that.
I wonder if you would like to share an example with us of how a dream helped you.
Oh, sure. Okay. So in my working life, I have a background in rehabilitation, and my work was to help people regain employment after they suffered a work-related injury or mental health issue, whatever. Anyway, I did that work here in Australia and in the U.S., and I just decided that what I was doing was too hard. Anyway, and that I needed some help. Well, I dreamed that I met this guy, and I ended up meeting this guy. His name is also David. And we ended up being business partners we still are. So it's been over 30 years. And we formed, I don't hesitate to say it was very successful business that we grew from zero, to, pretty big, and, helped lots of people along the way. And dreams were a big part of that. And just forming a partnership being helped by the dream state to find someone, that was congruent with me. And so it's just a great example of how dreams can help you contact and meet up with people, not only in dreaming reality, but in waking reality, solving a real problem and forming a business, which we did over the next, whatever it's been, 25 years, I guess.
So the dream was just of meeting a person named Dave? That was the dream?
Yeah. And then we ended up, so the story continues. It's like, so he's a regular visitor in my dreams. He represents my inner self, but in waking reality, so we heard about each other. We decided to meet up for a cup of coffee. And at that same meeting, we decided to work together. And we worked together for, the rest of our lives, really, is how it's working out. And he's become a, great friend and so forth. So, your dreams can really deliver, is what I'm trying to say.
I guess so. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. So, David, I'm thinking of sharing with you a dream I had recently, and it seems to kind of touch into something about the beliefs and changing beliefs. And so I'm kind of curious to get your take on this. This was if that's okay with you, is that?
Sure.
Okay. So it was from yesterday morning. Listeners will know that my father recently passed away, and he was, in a wheelchair for the last year or so of his life. And in this dream, there's a man in a wheelchair, an old man in a wheelchair. And it's not clear that it's my father, but in the dream, I'm even thinking, it's kind of like Dad. And what it is there's something about me and these other people with me are holding him in his wheelchair. We're holding him, kind of pushing him down, holding him in his wheelchair. And the person in the dream in the wheelchair gives a big shake, and it pushes us all back. And then that's when I wake up. So it made me think about my beliefs. And like what you're talking about today, it kind of really got me thinking about my beliefs. Is the way that I'm kind of been limiting my father in my mind, like my views of my father, keeping him in the wheelchair, kind of pushing him down into that. And yet it's starting to change. Like he shakes me off in the dream that there's a way that he's not even not going to stay in the wheelchair after all. Right? It's like,
no. Well, if he's passed, he's obviously not in his wheelchair anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, can I say one thing? Congratulations, to have a dream of your dad.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
After his passing, I think that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Can be, to have him, so can you describe the pushing away part?
Yeah.
Can you go into that? What did that feel like?
Okay. So I am one of the ones holding him down. I'm kind of pushing on his arms or his shoulders, even kind of holding him in the wheelchair. And he gives the man in the wheelchair, I guess my father, it's interesting. He doesn't look totally like him, but there's a real sense of that. And he gives a quiver or shake. It starts out like moving his shoulders back and forth, but then it kind of becomes more like a energetic, resonant shake, like something kind of quivers through his whole body. And it's almost like there's a force that kind of drives us back. It isn't really even his limbs moving that push us back, but there's some kind of force that almost explodes out of him that pushes us back. And then we realize we can't hold him in the wheelchair anymore.
We can't hold him in the wheelchair anymore.
Yeah, like that's kind of what I've come to in mulling over the dream, that there's some way that that's just changed.
Okay, yeah, things have changed, all right. How did you emotionally feel about inside that experience?
Well, it was mostly a surprise, a sense of surprise. And I didn't know how strong he was. I wouldn't have thought he'd be strong enough to do that. And it's interesting that it's interesting. We were trying to hold him in his wheelchair, and he was in the last few weeks, especially in months of his life, prone to trying to get up when he really just couldn't walk safely. And he did try to get up several times, and he needed to be kept. We had to be watched. They had like an alarm underneath him so that if he tried to get up, so he was literally. People were literally trying to keep him in his wheelchair because he would fall. He could fall, and it was very dangerous. And so,
So what? Okay, that's you're answering what I was about to ask.
Okay.
Let me ask it just for fun.
Yeah.
So why were you trying to keep him in his wheelchair?
that's a good question. There's the waking life thing about the safety, but I don't think that's what it was in the dream. I think it was like, that's where you belong. That's where I'm used to you being. That's where
Okay.
that's where I think it comes to beliefs. Like there's some
Right.
belief of mine that that's where he belonged.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
my experience with people passing in my life, and when I have dreams with them, is they're the same, and yet they are not the same, if that makes sense.
Yes, I understand. Yes.
So, well, I'll just let me just say a couple of things, just to try them out for size. It's like, we are not our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We have a body. That's true. We have one for a while, but we are not our bodies. And so, if you have, for example, and have you ever had an out-of-body experience?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I'm not
For listeners, it's an experience where, and you can project out from the dream state into an out of body, and everyone does this. By the way, you actually have had the experience. You don't remember it, and we
Right.
go out of our bodies every night and go traveling around. So, just
Right.
because.
I believe I could buy that. That sounds entirely possible to me.
Oh, that's cool. So, and so, when you have an experience of a loved one who's passed, your dad or a partner or whatever, there's a communication that's happening, right? And I think you've picked up on it, and that is, your dream experience is trying to help you understand something.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were to say what that understanding is, just based on your experience last night, what would it be, do you think?
My
Or do you
understanding
feel?
about
Yeah.
my father.
Yeah, what's the communication? What's the dream trying to communicate, or the experience that you created?
Something like I'm not weak. I'm not as weak as you think I am, or something like that.
Right.
I'm not as
Not anymore, anyway.
No,
Right.
not anymore. Oh, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
He's pushing you away a little bit. It's like, hey.
Right, but in a healthy way, because I was trying to hold him down, and I think
Mhm.
he's like letting me know that I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, do you know, like some people, just death in general, and if for people interested in this topic, actually Seth has a lot of cool stuff to say, and if you're interested, there's two books, Seth Speaks, which is the eternal validity of the soul, and the After Death Journal of an American Philosopher, which is the worldview of William James, the after death experience of his. Anyway, it's fascinating reading, because our consciousness goes on. It's like it doesn't burst off into a million tiny bits, never to operate again. It's like your consciousness goes on. It's true. I'll just ask you the question.
Sure.
Do you think your dad was ready to go?
Yeah, I think he was. I think his body.
Was he tired of being in a wheelchair, for example?
I think he was tired of life was not doing you any favors in the last few years.
Yeah.
I think it was
Sure.
it was time. Yep.
And some people hang on, at least in my experience with certain, and it's like they hang on for various reasons. Sometimes it's for the people
Yeah. Right.
around them,
Yep.
and it's like they've been ready to go for some time, and their bodies, not in really great shape anymore. It's unlikely it will get better, and so forth and so on.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's like, time to go. And,
Yeah.
they've got other journeys to make and other things to learn. And I had a partner who passed, it's been about 7, 8 months ago, I think.
Oh, that's very
Anyway,
recent. That's very recent.
the
I'm sorry.
that I had was I came up to a stage and there was a big curtain across it. The curtain, I realized I had to go through the curtain to get out of this auditorium. Anyway, my partner appears. She's younger. She's like in her 30s, real vivacious. She's busy. She's in a choreographed group back there. They're practicing. They're really busy. And she comes over and it's like, it took me a while to recognize her. It's like, and I said, my girlfriend died. And she looks at me and she goes, and I realized, oh, it's her. Holy crap. And she goes, yeah, it's me. I'm really busy. And, anyway, she gives me a giant hug, very reassuring.
Nice.
And then she tells me a kind of a joke, which is kind of like her. She goes, I told you should have picked the busty blonde. It's like, what? How can you say that? It's like this really serious emotional experience. And she pulls a joke. Like, really? Anyway, but, I think what I'm trying to point out a little bit is it's not just what happens, but the emotional feeling that you had and that I had is key in understanding our dreams, because as we talked about earlier, it leads us back to our beliefs.
Yeah, I really like that, the focus on the feelings. That's certainly been my experience around dreaming.
Yeah.
And so like maybe the sense of surprise with my father, there's more to come. I mean, we'll see.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's so cool you've had that already.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me a bit. In fact, I think it's highly likely you'll have more.
Sounds good to me. So
were there any questions from our listeners?
Nope. We have a question from Max here, who's in the studio with me. Okay. So yeah, Max, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm very interested in the interface or the similarities between waking life feelings and perceptions and dreams. And I've heard a lot about dream time, and I've never heard anybody describe it.
Dream time.
Like the Aboriginal concept of Australian?
The Aboriginal concept of it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm going to beg off on that one. Like,
okay.
Only because, it's a long topic, and I wouldn't do it service. And I don't feel, I'm sorry, I don't feel competent enough. Let me make one comment.
Okay.
But I'm begging off in a way. I'm sorry to do that
We'll
to
take
you.
whatever comments.
You can beg off. That's fine.
No worries. But look, so in indigenous culture, the dream time is now, and it's in the past as well. Although they didn't have the kind of quantum idea of necessarily simultaneous time. They had a linear, my understanding, a general linear view of time. So there's a lot of ancestors and contacting ancestors, and there's taking care of the song lines, that wind through the earth and the oceans and the air. So it's a very mystical way of looking at creation, and actually I think it actually fits a lot better than the more scientific views that we have regarding creation. So from the dream time, all creation has occurred. So it's like all that is created all at once and continuously. And science has quite limited perspectives on this, unfortunately, and I think that's why science needs to expand itself a bit, and including feelings, intuitions, which is difficult to measure. Let's face it. It's like good luck with that one.
Yeah.
We just they don't really make tools that are very helpful in that area. So, our science capacity is a little bit limited in that area. However, I think if you continue to record your dreams, you start to see a synchronicity with the events in your life, with your dreams. So inevitably, you kind of come to a conclusion that you are creating your own reality moment to moment and day to day through your beliefs.
Wow.
So which is, so it's, it doesn't deny that cause and effect exist. You drop a pencil, you pick it up. But, okay, there's I dropped my pencil, I have to go pick it up. But that doesn't mean that we can't, and you can notice that you create reality through improbable events, which Carl Jung called synchronistic events, acausal. And you start to go, hey, wait a minute, I'm having synchronistic events every day. What's the mathematical likelihood of that?
Right.
Well, it's it's effing zero. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm serious. It's like the math behind it. It's improbable that these synchronistic events would occur. Where you run into people in the grocery store, you haven't seen them for 5 years, or you go to some weird out of the way location and you run into someone that you've wanted to see. Happens to people all the time.
I want to get to some of your upcoming events at Seth-Center.com.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's weird. The timing is actually, so here's what's happening to all listeners. So we teach a number of courses, and so 2 are coming up. The Seth Intensive starts on, let's see, I just wrote it down here. Starts on October 4th and finishes November 14th, and that's for 6 weeks. And that's followed by the Seth Dreams and Lucid Dreams intensive class, which my colleague Robert Wagner and I teach. So he's a professional lucid dreamer.
Yep.
Has written a couple best-selling books on the matter. And that class runs from November 15th to the 26th of December. So 6 weeks. It is pretty intense, but it's a great primer. Whether you're new to dreams or whether you're an old hand, we have something for everyone in this. I've had a number of people take the class a number of times, which is great.
Okay.
So if you're interested, check it out on Seth-Center.com. We also have a monthly, it's twice a month, ongoing Seth Dreams and Lucid Dreams class. And you're welcome to check that out. It's also at that website.
Okay, excellent. So we take a look at Seth-Center.com. Dave Cielak, and do you have any quick last-minute encouragements for our listeners?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. So with the Superior Alternative Sleep Schedule, if you can get a hold of the books and read those 2 chapters, Chapter 8, Chapter 13. Otherwise, you can try it in a graduated way, which is on a week, if you're working full-time, you can take a 15-minute rest when you get home, or half an hour. Just close your eyes. Doesn't even mean you have to go to sleep. Or alternatively, you could, on a weekend, take a nap, try a nap, and see how that goes for you, and see how it feels. Just half an hour, whatever.
Right.
And then, I realize people are busy, you got kids, you got work, all that stuff, but you can start to creep it in a little bit and try it out.
Yeah, and maybe some of that programming would be helpful too, is to say that even you wake
remember
up,
the suggestions.
Even if you wake up and it's only been 5 hours, you can say, well, that's all I need for a day.
Yeah, and get up. Just get up. Mm-hmm. Get up. Go for a walk. Go read about dreams, or walk the dog, or do some art, write some poetry, take a photo.
Excellent.
At any rate, so there's a way in here, and it really, in my opinion, is worth the energy and the effort.
Great.
So good luck with that.
Thanks so much, Dave. Well, let's
You're
be
welcome.
in touch. We'll talk to you about the Festival
Sounds
of Dreams.
good, Catherine. I
ISD.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Good night. Bye.
So thank you for listening. The Dream Journal is produced at the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, and we are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific at ksqd.org. The podcast is released the Monday after the show. Keeps us growing when you subscribe, rate, and review. And podcast listeners, remember, we only have currently the latest 4 to 5 shows available. You'll be able to see all the shows in your feed, but you won't be able to click on them until we get our server fixed over here at the Squid. I'm Catherine Bell. You can find out about my dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com. Email me at catherine@ksqd.org. Catherine is Katherine. Follow Experiential Dreamwork and hashtag The Dream Journal on Facebook and Instagram to find out about upcoming shows. I'd like to thank Rick Kleffel, engineer and music creator, David Bean for the phones. Intro music is Water Over Stones. Outro music is Everything, both by Mood Science. And tomorrow morning, when you wake up, take a minute to write down your dream and bring it to the next Dream Journal.
Knows that so much is wrong.